Hey everybody, if you are new to weightlifting, this call is for you. Also, if you're about to embark on a weight loss journey, you absolutely should be doing the lifting of the weights because it's going to accelerate your fat loss. And so today we're going to be talking about beginners who need to get into the weight room and they're a little bit afraid to do it. But if you're working with me, you're also working with Trainerize, which is an app that you're going to have on your phone with all of your workouts listed in it. You can also be following me on my Monday through Thursday YouTube videos. In those videos, I wouldn't say they're beginner, but they're more intermediate advanced. So as you move from beginner stage into intermediate advanced, you'd want to follow me on YouTube so we can get into those workouts together. There's also in the description of those YouTube workouts all the equipment that you're going to need to be successful. But why building muscle as we age? Well, we know that strength is significantly correlated with mortality. In fact, you could do a grip strength analysis test and find that maybe you're in the below average range for strength. Well, they're correlating that directly now with increased risk for dying young. And so we need to increase the strength. We also need to increase the mass. And those are two separate things, right? So like if I'm weighing you on an in-body scale, like I have here, we're going to be measuring for mass. Now you might have a lot of muscle mass, but not feel very strong, right? Because strength can be separate from actual weight on the scale or mass. So when we're measuring for strength, we're also measuring for, basically how strong that muscle contraction is, neurologically, how the brain connects with the muscles and creates those muscular contractions. But also a lot of that has to do with our estrogen levels. So as we age and we reach menopause, our estrogen levels decline and we stop really being able to lift heavy. Now, we can still lift heavy if we've been doing it for a long time, but really getting after it in older age is hard. So it's going to take some concerted effort. You got to start at the beginning, and that's what this call is for those beginners who are really just like, I need to do something. I know this is good for me, and I want to lose some weight. So how do I do that? Well, for the beginner, we're going to start with basic patterns of movement that involve multiple joints of the body. So compound movements is what I call that. So like a body weight squat, for example. When you're doing a body weight squat, you're moving the hips, the knees, and the ankles all at once. You're also being mindful of your back and your knees and where they're at in relationship to space, requiring some balance and all that stuff. So that's all good for that brain-body connection and for building up strength in multiple joints of the hip, knee, and ankle. We're also going to be talking about different movements, so I'm going to show you those later. And we're going to go through each movement pattern and how to do them correctly. What we need to be talking about today is like how often, what should you be doing, and how much, okay, and the why behind it. So when you go to the gym or you're working out from home, I want you to be thinking about doing this at least 2 days a week, up to 3 days a week. And when you're first starting out, you want those 2 to 3 days a week to be full body exercises. So you're going to be doing the full thing 2 to 3 days a week. Also, when you're doing the exercise routine that you're doing, we want you to do about 3 to 4 sets of about 8 to 12 reps. So that means you're going to go through each set or each workout routine 3 to 4 times within that day. And each exercise is going to have 8 to 12 reps. You want to leave about 2 to 3 reps basically for the end of the rep range. So we get into 8, 9, 10. Okay, now it's getting really hard. 11 and 12. I can still do the 12th one, but it's difficult. That's how you want to finish out each set, is that the last 2 or 3 are fairly difficult. You can still do them, but they're hard. And that's when you know you've reached the right weight that you're using for that workout. Now you might have free weights at home, or you're using a machine weight at the gym. All that is great. The machine weights are a great way to start for beginners because we know that it's going to put you ergonomically in a good position. If you're using your own body weight, that's also great because you're out here in space and you're having to move your body and it's more realistic, right? And then dumbbells add that extra layer of a little bit more weight and hardness to the exercise, making it better for you in the long run to build muscle. Okay. Now, on top of what we're doing, we're going to work out for about 30 to 40 minutes total. So 2 to 3 days a week, 30 to 40 minutes, 3 to 4 sets of 8 to 12 reps. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, but that's what a beginner should be doing. And we're going to now go over the different exercises that you do as a beginner, and then we'll build on that into our intermediate and advanced stages. Prior to your beginner strength training workout, you are going to want to warm up. So walking on a treadmill or going out and going for a walk, just warm up the body is super important to get your body ready for the strength training that you're about to do. And really any cardio will do, so just get on a bike, an elliptical, anything to get your body warmed up. I like to get on a bike and do like a high intensity interval workout right before I do my body weight resistance exercises. This is a great way to get in a HIIT workout as a warm up. Okay, now we're going to go over our different movement patterns. This is a body weight squat. You can see that my legs are shoulder width apart, and I'm going down to about 90-degree angle with the hips and the knees. And I'm hinging at all the different spots on the body, hip, knee, ankle. Now watch for those knees to come into center. We do not want that. We want the knees to track with the feet. And you want to sit back on your heels. So make sure you're not putting any body weight through the toes, and you're putting your body weight through your heels, so you're feeling like you're sitting back in a chair. Next, I'll be demonstrating a push-up. So get into plank position with that butt parallel with the ground. And we're going to be putting our arm shoulder width, way past the shoulder width, but elbows pointing straight out. And we're bringing our body straight down to the chest. Now do it from your knees, makes it a lot easier. It's still difficult, so if you're a beginner, start on your knees or move to a bench or do it standing on the wall. If you can't do push-ups from the floor, I highly recommend getting a bench that you can elevate yourself to, or do them from the knees on a bench, or you can go to the wall. Next, you're going to see me doing a barbell glute bridge. Now, one might argue this could be an intermediate exercise, but you could use dumbbells for this to make it easier on yourself. And you can do the barbell, actually you need to do the barbell glute bridge from a bench, like you see my shoulder blades are pivoting off the bench, but I can do a glute bridge from the floor with dumbbells as well. Next, we're demonstrating a deadlift. So those weights come down past the knees just slightly. Our hamstring is going to be our limiter, but I'm hinging at the waist, keeping the knees soft, back nice and flat, eyes up. So I don't want my back to round out or you'll injure your back. So tuck that tummy in nice and tight and make sure that you don't injure yourself. Next, what we're showing is a row. So same position as kind of the deadlift, but the knees are a little softer here, bent, and the elbows come straight back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. I'm demonstrating a plank here, a high plank. So butt is parallel with the ground, not sticking up in the air, or you can go down to your elbows. Either way works just fine. Don't stick that butt up in the air. Keep it down. It's not a downward dog position. This will really challenge the abs. Now I'm demonstrating a step back lunge. So watch the knee in front, that it doesn't go in front of the toe. That's one of the biggest things we need to be careful of. Also, when you step back, don't step back so far that you can't just bring that knee straight down to the floor. Now we're demonstrating a front lunge. It's a little bit harder to do. Again, watch the knee in the front. I'm getting in position to do a goblet squat. So you want your feet at 45 degrees pointed outward, and you're just going straight down with that weight held like a goblet, like a wine glass. Up and down. This really feels good on the quads. It's a nice compound movement. Here I'm demonstrating a back fly. You want those dumbbells touching each other, elbows bent, and you're pulling those shoulder blades together in the back, keeping a position like you were doing for rows or for a deadlift. That back should be nice and flat, and you're not compromising it. Here I'm going to be demonstrating a farmer carry using heavier weights. I can use much heavier than 15 pounds, what I'm demonstrating here, but you're just holding those weights, walking back and forth. This is really good for working on grip strength, balance, and just overall strength of the legs. You can practice walking and just going back and forth in your area. Now I'm going to grab a physio ball to demonstrate chest press. So you're going to get down into tabletop position where your shoulder blades and head are resting on the ball. Elbows are straight out, going dumbbell straight to the ceiling. This is really great for the core as well on the ball because you're stabilizing yourself in the core while you're doing the chest press. Now I'm going to do some back extensions. So just putting my belly on the ball, legs straight and pulling straight back. Arms are going backward, or you can fold them across your chest. Now I'm going to flip it around for a crunch, arms straight to the ceiling and going straight up. I love the ball for doing crunches because it puts your abs in a little bit of a stretch position before coming up and contracting. Forward to lateral raise is a great dumbbell exercise for a beginner because it keeps your arms below 90 degrees. Bicep curls are one of my favorite things to do as a beginner. And I also love that you can improve on that with the barbell if you'd like, or just increasing your weight. Next, put one weight down and do your tricep extension. Try and keep the elbows in tight to the head as you're doing a single arm or double arm tricep extension, single dumbbell. Supermans are an easy exercise and can be done by most people just by laying on the floor, no equipment needed. And after Supermans, you could try a swimmer. So opposite arm, opposite foot. Okay, cat-cow exercises are up next. I'm in a quadruped position, that's on my hands and feet. And I'm going into cat with that arched back, chin tucked, right into cow with that sway back, chin up and out. And I usually go a lot slower than this and breathing in and out, 5 seconds each. That just gives me some relaxation after a hard workout. I want to demonstrate what it means to pull the belly button into the spine. You can see here my abs are like pooched out and I have a roundness to my belly. That's the wrong way to do ab workouts. We want to do it the right way by pulling the belly button into the spine, and that's contracting our transverse abdominis muscle. So you can tell the difference when you're pooching out versus pulling in. You can see the rib cage is kind of sticking out. And you can go into neutral spine by really rocking the hips back and forth, finding the neutral spot and then sucking it in. So pulling that belly button in, it's like a pull, a suck, however you want to do it, but give yourself some practice doing it because it's really hard to do. And then hold it for about 10 seconds at a time just to give yourself some practice. Now, complementary workouts to your weightlifting routine are for sure going to be your yoga, your Pilates, your stretching routines, and like a foam roller exercise, as well as your core exercises, high intensity interval training or HIIT, as well as your cardio. So cardio and HIIT, you're going to do those like aside from your weightlifting, you want to do cardio about 2 to 3 times a week as well. About 30 to 40 minutes of cardio. On top of that, you want to do at least one high intensity interval workout a week to really get that heart rate up there, get you panting, that breath that's just like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? That was so hard. That needs to be happening at least one day a week to really stress and tax the systems in a whole different way. It's also going to help you burn fat for 24 hours. So HIIT is really, really important. In my YouTube workouts, I like to incorporate HIIT with strength training. And so you can also do that at the gym when you're doing your circuit training or you're doing your 3 to 4 sets. You don't have to do them slowly. You can increase the intensity just by increasing speed. But that means you're also going to have to bring down the weight a little bit so you're not lifting as heavy when you're increasing speed, or you might get injured. So be careful with that. We want you to be tracking your progress in the Trainerize app because you're going to know if you're increasing weight as you go, and you're going to get rewarded for that. You're going to get badges and various different things. It'll be kind of fun to watch your progress inside the app. What we expect is that you're going to be increasing your weight about 2 to 2.5 pounds over about an 8 to 10 week period. So as you're increasing strength, you'll notice that the weights that you're pulling off the rack or putting a pin in the cardio machine, or not the cardio machine, the pin that you're putting inside of the strength training machine is getting heavier every 8 to 10 weeks, about 2 to 2.5 pounds. Now, why do women need to strength train? Specifically because as we age, we lose that estrogen. Estrogen to women is like what testosterone is to men. So as men use testosterone to build mass, and they have strength and they have energy, women use estrogen for the same thing. We use it for our strength as well as for those exercises that we do that create muscle contractions. Okay, and that estrogen helps us bind the myosin and actin together to create a stronger contraction. So as we age, we feel weaker. But it doesn't have to be that way, you guys. You're starting out now so that you can stave off muscle wasting, sarcopenia, which is the disease of aging, and that's muscle wasting as you age. Also, as you lift weights, you're going to be putting a lot of pulling on those tendons that are on the bone, and that's going to help increase bone strength as well. So lots of different reasons why we need to boost our exercise in the category of weightlifting, because it might actually boost your estrogen levels or help you not lose them as quick. But if you're waning in the estrogen and you are able to take an estrogen replacement therapy, like a bioidentical hormone, it may help you feel stronger. So if you're taking that and all of a sudden you're like, wow, I have so much more energy, I feel good, it's because of the estrogen. All right. So also another cool fact about women versus men is that women have a lot more slow twitch muscle fibers. Slow twitch muscle fibers allow us to run for long distances, like do our marathons, things like that. But men have less slow twitch muscle fibers and way more fast twitch. So fast twitch is what allows us to burst and sprint and jump and do the things that are really highly athletic and bounding like activities. Women have lower amounts of that, so we're just not as proficient or as good as men in those type of activities. Doesn't mean you can't train for those and get better, but what that means for us as we age is that we need to know that our fast twitch muscle fibers, which we already don't have very much of, start to get like over time just like slow down, and they stop working as well. And so we need to train for fast twitch muscle fibers. And that means that high intensity interval training and bounding and moving our feet quickly are all really important things for us to make sure we're staving off that muscle wasting as we get older, especially in the fast twitch muscle fibers. So I'm going to show you in a little while some different exercises you can do to increase that fast twitch muscle fiber. And that's going to be more in the plyometric category, the jumping, the skipping, the fast feet, stuff like that. Because if you think about aging, when we lose some muscle, we lose that ability to balance, we get tighter and we might trip, right? We're walking along and we trip over something. Well, that speed of muscle or that speed of foot turnover is so important for us, because if I'm starting to trip and fall and my right foot is starting to come forward to try and catch myself, but it's not coming forward as fast as it did in my youth, then I'm going to tumble and I'm going to fall. So the point of, as we age, working on our strength training as a beginner, going into intermediate and more advanced stuff, the more advanced stuff is going to be your plyometric stuff. It's that fast feet movement to prevent us from not tripping necessarily. We might still trip, but to be able to catch ourselves faster with those legs, that because of that muscle or that foot turnover speed is a lot faster. Women tend to gravitate more toward that slow twitch muscle fiber training, like exercising on a treadmill or walking, because we're good at it. But what we aren't necessarily good at is that fast twitch. So we don't tend to do things we don't think we're good at. But I want to assure you guys, you have to get yourself to do it, or it won't happen, and it will degrade with age. And let's talk about nutrition for beginners. So you want to make sure that when you're starting out on an exercise regimen and a weight loss regimen, that you're eating a lot of protein. Now, most of you don't eat enough protein. You're getting started with me and you're like, I have to eat, 140 grams of protein? Well, it depends on how much lean body mass you have. When you get on the InBody scale, we're going to know exactly how many grams of protein you need to eat. And I'm going to give you that in your assessment when you're working with me. But you're going to eat a lot more than you ever have before. And that's to support the lean body mass. That's your muscle bone. Okay, muscle and bone. And it's to support all the collagen and connective tissue of your body, your skin and everything. Amino acid is the breakdown of proteins in the body, and they build every single cell in the human body. So we have to eat a lot of it, because you guys, we don't absorb as much as we get older too. So if you're over the age of 50 and you're in menopause, you're actually going to need almost twice as much as I need. Like, it's insane. So you guys are probably going, what the heck? Well, it's because you just don't absorb it through the gut as well. There are ways to get around that through taking essential amino acids, like a supplement powder, equivalent to like 30 grams of protein. Of course, eating lots of meat, lean meats, steaks, hamburgers, pork, anything you guys can think of, fish, turkey, all the things. But eating lots of forms of protein, whey protein, protein powders, protein bars, things like that. But my goal for me every day is about 160 grams of protein. And how I fit that in is in the morning in my coffee, I'll have another bit of protein. Well, not a little bit, a lot bit of protein for breakfast. I typically have about 50 grams of protein after my workout. And then I'll have another 50 grams of protein at lunch and another 50 grams at dinner. So I'm focusing on about 160 grams a day, all the way up to about 180. And so what I've noticed in myself over the last 5 years, I've worked out from home doing my 4 YouTube videos a week, and all of them are strength training based, high intensity interval training based, and then some cardio in there as well. But what I've noticed is that I tend to keep and maybe at times gain a little bit of muscle mass from where I was 5 years ago. And that's important. We want to maintain our muscle mass as we're losing fat. So you don't ever want that to wane or go down. That's why exercise is so important, because as we're exercising when we're in a calorie deficit, but we keep that protein really high, it stimulates the muscles and it says, no, these muscles are necessary. They cannot be burned, because what you'll notice if you're just dieting and you're not exercising, you'll burn muscle for fuel instead of fat. So you'll start to lose muscle. The fat percentage stays high and you're not losing enough fat in the kind of same ratio as you are muscle. So you're losing weight on the scale, but you're not losing actual, like a whole lot of fat. And what happens is your metabolism tanks because you lose all that lean body mass, and now you can't eat as many calories. You're say, I'm done with this diet thing, this doesn't work, and then you gain the weight back and then some. So there's a lot better way of doing it. You just have to contact me, work with me, because I will help you figure out how many calories your body needs, how many grams of protein you need to eat to make sure, and then also how to pair that with your workouts. So we want to make sure that you're exercising with about 30 grams of protein on board pre-workout, and then after the workout you're getting about 30 grams of protein as well. As you age, it's like post-menopause, you should be getting around 60 grams of protein total around that workout. And that's what I just said, 30 grams pre-workout, about 30 grams post-workout. Now, if you're my age, I'm 48, I'm maybe going to be hitting premenopause soon. I'm still hitting those numbers. So I'm getting used to it, right? It's like you can't just start later on. I mean, you can, but we want you to start at some point. It doesn't matter where you start. Just get started on high protein diet and get started on your weightlifting journey today. Okay, next we're going to be going into what it takes to be an intermediate weightlifter, and then what it would take to get to the advanced level. Okay, so I've already mentioned that in menopause, estrogen decreases. So we lose the support, which is that fast twitch muscle fiber. And it makes it even more important for us to focus on the weightlifting. So now we're moving from our body weight resistance and light weight, or maybe our machine weights, to more intermediate type stuff. Now, let's say it's been about 3 to 6 months of doing body weight resistance and beginner, and you're ready to move on to the more intermediate stuff. So if you were truly a beginner, now after 3 to 6 months, it's time to move into the intermediate phase with light dumbbell or heavier dumbbell than what you were doing before. And now we're moving from our resistance on the machines to maybe more free form, so dumbbell for sure. And we're moving our feet a little bit more. So this could include like a jump squat, but it may not, or include something like a jumping jack. But again, you're moving from doing like a jumping jack where you're tapping the feet to a full-on jump up and down. Okay, so that is a move from beginner to intermediate. So now we're going to focus on increasing the weight to stimulate the central nervous system. So that's going to take us into still 3 to 4 sets like you were used to in the beginner. 6 to 8 reps this time. So before we were 8 to 12 reps in beginner, now we're 6 to 8. So you're doing your 6th, 7th, and 8th really hard. That rep is the last rep in the 8, and it's hard. So that's when you know you've reached the right amount of resistance on the weights. And so that's about right, 6 to 8 reps. And that's going to help us build a little bit more strength than in the early stage beginner. Compounding lifts, again, is really important to keep in mind. So we're going to be doing a lot of the same things we did before, but just with added weight. So like your body weight squats now are no longer body weight. They actually have dumbbells that you're holding down by your side and you're squatting down and up. Or you've got a barbell on your back and you are doing barbell back squats. Okay, now in this phase, we are going to be adding more balance type exercises. So maybe like a single leg deadlift, or something was like a bounding exercise. Again, like jumping, things like that. Okay, for your schedule, you're still going to stick to like that 2 to 3 times a week schedule. You might add a fourth day. Now, if you add that fourth day, you're going to be able to do 2 upper body days and 2 lower body days. So then you can split that up, but you're going to be at the gym a little bit more. So if you did like Monday upper body, Tuesday lower body, Wednesday was a rest day, and then you did upper lower again on Thursday, Friday, that would be an ideal way to give the body plenty of rest. Your muscles do need about 48 hours of complete rest before they're ready for you to work them out again. So you do need to have proper recovery. So sleep, water, and decreasing the stress in your life, all those things are going to help with muscle recovery to get you ready for that next workout. Okay, another way you could do it is 2 full body workouts a week, and then 1 upper and 1 lower. So that's another way to work through like an intermediate program. I do 4 workouts a week. My Monday is high intensity interval training, and that involves some weightlifting, so I will have some dumbbells. Other times it's just my body weight resistance, but I'm really jacking up the amount of cardio that I'm doing, so my heart rate gets into the like 160s. For me is really high, and so I'm getting that panting going on, so I'm really burning fat all day long after that Monday workout. Tuesdays is my core and cardio day, so it's focused more on core strength and cardio. And then Wednesday I do lower body strength training, and on Thursday I'm doing upper body strength training. So that's how I do my 4 days a week. So however you guys want to do your 4 days a week, it's up to you. Now, if you can only do 2 days a week of strength training still, make sure you're doing full body both days, because life gets in the way. So let's say you did full body on Monday, and then you were supposed to do full body on Thursday, but you just never got around to another workout that week. At least you did full body all in that one day that week. So you covered your bases at least. But it takes at least 2, you guys, and up to 4 in the intermediate stage, so keep that in mind. We're also going to do your complementary things, just like we did before: cardio, Pilates, HIIT, stretching, all those kind of things. Okay, nutrition remains the same. So same as beginner. If you're still in a cut phase, like we've got you on a 500 calorie deficit, high protein, you're still staying with that, no matter if you go from beginner to intermediate and from intermediate to advanced, you're still in a cut phase. So your calories remain the same, but we are going to pull you out of a cut phase about every 8 weeks. So if you're feeling like, okay, I'm losing a little bit of muscle here, it's counterproductive, I feel like I'm overtraining, you're hungry all the time, you're getting cravings, then you need to let me know, and we will up your calories and give you a little bit of a break before we go back into another cut phase. All right, now to get into the advanced stages, what all that entails is really continuing to focus on balance and stability, foot speed turnover, jumping, bounding, things like that. Those are the things that are going to make it more advanced, increasing your weight as well. So when we do that, we're going to focus more on like 3 to 6 reps. In intermediate, we go from 6 to 8 reps. To advanced, we are now in our 3 to 6 rep range. And what we're doing is we're adding on way more weight. So you're about 80% of what you call your 1 rep maximum. So if I were to do a bicep curl with 50 pounds, I might only be able to do that 1 time. Okay, that's my 1 rep max. So then what's 80% of my 1 rep max is what I can do probably 3 times or 4. So that's that 3 to 6 rep range at 80% of your 1 rep max. That's how you're going to do it in the advanced stage when you're lifting weights. I don't currently lift like that. I don't lift heavy, but if you're really into lifting heavy, you want to learn how to do that, I actually highly recommend you get somebody like Peyton or myself to really train you how to do it specifically. And again, you're not going to do it until you've gone through the intermediate phase, beginner and intermediate phase, but there is a little bit more to it, and we want to make sure that you're safe, maybe even hiring a trainer at your gym to help walk you through what that looks like. But it is going to take you doing power-based movements with lower reps, higher weight, and again, you're kind of doing the 3 to 4 days a week of strength training with lots of rest and recovery in between. Again, 48 hours in between to give your muscles plenty of time to recuperate and recover. Make sure you're getting plenty of deep sleep, an hour to an hour and a half of deep sleep. So if you're wearing an Oura Ring or an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or way to track your sleep, that's going to be where the sweet spot is for your muscle recovery. And so make sure you're doing that. Well, that is it for now. Let's go through the exercises, and so I can show you exactly what to do, and how to build a program around it.
Before we get into the intermediate and advanced workouts, you guys really need to warm up doing a dynamic warm up. That's more than just getting on a treadmill and doing a warm up through an elliptical. You're really moving the muscle at the same time you're stretching. That's the definition of a dynamic warm up, is that we're really getting that kind of movement that's similar to what we're about to be doing, but not so hard, right? So right now you can see me doing a back pedal, and with a skip just in there, or like a high knee drive to back pedal. And that's a great way to warm up the muscles and get them ready for that more dynamic type of movement that you're going to be doing in your intermediate to advanced plyometric exercises. All right, I'm about to go into some bounding exercises. I love this bounding exercise into a back pedal. This is definitely an advanced workout, and one where you're going to definitely need some strength in the hips and legs in order to accomplish this. Now you're going to see me go into a sprinter start. It's where you go down into a sprinter stance and then you explode up as if you're exploding out of the blocks. I like this jog and scoop because it really helps me with my hamstring warm up. So you do 1, 2, 3 jog scoop, 1, 2, 3 switch, and 1, 2, 3 switch. And you just do that for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And then your classic jumping jacks and butt kickers are going to be things that really help you with a warm up as well. And they're easy to do. Okay, when was the last time you played hopscotch? This is your chance to do that and really work on your balance and bounding activity as well as warm up. Okay, now that you're all warmed up, we can do some classic, intermediate, advanced exercises like a jump squat. This is one of my favorite things. Now watch your knees, make sure they're not going in line and that you're staying on your heels as you're doing them. Next, you're going to see me doing a single leg Romanian split squat. And I just really like this for balance. You're going to have the dumbbell in the opposite arm as the leg that you're balancing on. Next, we're going to be doing a side plank. And you can see my elbow is right under the shoulder. I have my lower leg bent and my upper leg can either be up or down to support that. And I'm going up and down to just make it a little bit more difficult. That's a hip dip, side plank hip dip. Next, we're going to be going into a reverse plank. So you can have your legs straight. This makes it harder. And you're just holding that reverse plank. To make it easier, you can pull those feet into the body and go into tabletop if you can't hold the reverse plank. From tabletop position, we can do crab taps. These are pretty difficult. They require a lot of balance and a lot of strength in the upper body. Next is shoulder press, and the only reason why I put it in intermediate to advanced is because it takes your arms above 90-degree angle, and that can put a lot of stress on the shoulder. So I want you to build up your strength first under 90 degrees and then go into the Arnold press, which is what I'm doing now, or a shoulder press. Okay, these next several dynamic exercises like fast feet, what you see here, and what you're going to see next is jump rope. And then after jump rope, you'll see a toe tap, straight leg toe tap. These are things I put into my workouts all the time. I love them for a dynamic warm up, but I also love them just to get the cardio level up for the workout. Next, you're going to see me doing a barbell back squat. And this is an intermediate exercise. It's easier to do if you have a bench behind you and something to reach toward. So I'm reaching back my butt toward that bench. So it helps me sit back on my heels a little bit more. And then I'm starting off with a low weight for warm up and then advance to heavier weight as I go along. Next, you're going to see me strapping a big resistance band to my pull-up bar. I'm going to pull my bench in a little bit closer so I use it to step up on and hook my foot into that band. And that's just going to offset my weight as I do a pull-up. I definitely cannot do pull-ups on my own, so I need the band to help me with that. But pull-ups are an intermediate exercise, and there are several machines to help you offset your weight at the gym. So you don't have to do this banded thing, but look for those types of equipment to make it easier on yourself. Another exercise you can do is a dead weight hang off of a bar. So just hold onto a bar and let your body weight hang. I think a good way to measure if you're succeeding in this and getting better is just to time yourself. Okay, we're gonna do a kettlebell swing. These are a little tricky. You want the legs straight, the back flat, so you wanna be looking up when you're doing the swing. And you wanna pop the hips forward as you come forward or through, all the way through.
Well, welcome back. After all those exercises, I hope you're feeling energized and ready to get out there and tackle some of these beginner workouts, or if you're intermediate or advanced, try something new. Now, obviously it's gonna require some equipment. So in the description below, I've linked not only the equipment needs that you're gonna use, but also just a recap of all of the sets, weights, all the reps, all the things that we talked about throughout the video, just as a recap. And so thank you guys for joining me today. If you're not currently a client, we would love for you to be one. So reach out to us at nobaddays.biz, and we would love to connect with you about how we can set up your workouts in Trainerize and make things easier for you at the gym or at your home. If you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe now. That way you can hit the 4 workouts with me every day of the week, Monday through Thursday. I do live workouts at 7 a.m. and then we transition to a weekend of doing your own thing, and then I come back on Monday and we're doing live workouts again. If you can't meet me at 7 a.m. live, you can always join me later on. I do post those videos for you as well. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.